Welcome to my Instagram live show called The Third Phase. Today's guest, I'm very excited to introduce you to Valerie Blanco Johnson, MS and Certified Senior Advisor and the Program Director for the Heart of America's chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. And prior to joining this staff, joining this chapter, which is a Kansas City chapter, Valerie was extremely active in volunteering for them, and I'm thrilled to have her today. So for everyone else who's joined, I am Lori Carpenter. I am an interior designer, and I am the founder of The Third Phase. And if you're not familiar with The Third Phase, we talk about all things home, health, and wealth. And I go live every Tuesday at 12:30, so join us. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Life Ballet. Life Ballet is the manufacturer of the stunning inset-ready configurable grab bars for your bathroom. And they are ADA compliant, and life's full of possibilities, so your home should too. So check out your possibilities at lifeballet.com, and be sure and follow them over on Instagram at lifeballetnw. So help me welcome our guest here, Valerie. Let's get her on. Let's see, we're having a little problem. She has joined, I see, but I can't get her on. Valerie, are you with us? Okay, I've invited her now. Let's see if we can get her on. Yeah, as we've talked about, Alzheimer's is not something that we really like to talk a lot about. It's tough, but everybody is dealing with it in some way, form, or fashion, especially in the third phase. And as I shared, my brother has been diagnosed. He is 69 years old. To me, he's still young. But there is just so much to this and so much research. So I really want to get Valerie on here and hope she can maybe shed some light on some of the research and help us understand what support's out there for us. That is something maybe we don't necessarily know, but I know I didn't. Until you're in the throngs of it, sometimes you just really don't understand. So let me see if I can get Valerie on again. Let me try. I have invited her. And let's see if I can get her on camera. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. Sometimes, we love this technology, but sometimes it throws us a curve as it's done here. I see that Dana has joined us in Blossom Spaces. I really appreciate this. And Alejandra Thompson, thank you for joining today. And like I said, we're still working, trying to get Valerie on because, like I said, Alzheimer is something that we really need to learn more about. So let me see if I can get her on camera. I see she has joined, but she has not signed up for the co-host. Let me invite her again. She's invited, but it's saying she's unable to join. So sometimes we have difficulties with all this that we love. But anyway, let's see if we can't get her on. Now, please hang on for just a second. because I really feel like this is some valuable information that we can all learn from. Um, some of the people that are watching, have y'all had issues with family members or loved ones with Alzheimer's? If so, leave us a comment and let us know, because it is difficult. As I said, my mother is dealing with some dementia. She is 92, so it's very difficult, when you're dealing with things, and they forget and tell you the same things over and over, and a lot of times they forget you even called. So if you're not there with them, so it is a tough situation. So let me see if I can get um, Valerie on. She has been invited. Oh yes, Leslie is her mom. Her mom has Alzheimer's, and Leslie and I have discussed this a lot because both of our mothers are dealing. We're dealing with this a lot. Her mother, I believe, is in memory care, where mine's in skilled. But so it's different situations. My mother can't walk anymore at all, and Leslie's mom can transport herself, so that does help. That does change the care that they get. So anyway, let me check with Valerie one more time here. Like I said, she has been invited. It's just sometimes difficult to join in, um, depending on, we never know, Wi-Fi situations. So hopefully we can get her here. Dana, what about you? Are you dealing with this at all? And even see all some of the others. Does anybody else have issues or something? Maybe a question about Alzheimer's that maybe you would like to ask. Be sure and just add them in there. Mother-in-law, Dana. Yes, yes, it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. What age is your mother, Dana? If you mind me asking, just curious. Sometimes, like I said, my brother's 69. He was diagnosed probably at 68. And, with all the research out there, is doing fairly well, really. Dana, 86. Dana's mom's 86. Mine's 92. And I think Leslie's mom's 95. So we kind of expect that at that age. But when they're like younger, that's what's really, really hard. I was working a job with that this lady was bringing letters, lit up signs, and her husband looked to be very, very young, and he had been diagnosed, and he was just so nervous about everything because he knew, the bad part is they know, but they forget, and he was so worried about everything. The early onset is very, very heartbreaking. It's just so cruel to me. It's so cruel that they know, but they don't. They can't find their words. They know, and it's so scary. And yes, that's what I have seen with this situation. Let me try one more time and see if I can get Valerie on. We're still having difficulties here. I'm not sure what's wrong. We'll see if we can't get her on in the next few minutes and see what we can do. Um, yeah, I see Susie has joined. Susie, we are talking about Alzheimer's and wondering, how it may affect your life, a loved one, or a family member, or maybe a close friend. If you can, please, share with us. Yeah, Valerie's telling me she's not sure why she can't join. So we'll keep working on that, see if we can't get her on here, because her research, I know, is very, very important. And what parts of the country are some of you from? I am in Arkansas, and I know Leslie's from the Houston area or Galveston area. Dana, what area are you from? And Susie, if y'all would maybe write in the comment. Chattanooga, Dana. Oh, great. Great. I was just listening to a podcast with Reese Witherspoon talking about the Nashville area. So, yeah, you're clear across the. See, I'm almost to the Tennessee line, Missouri Tennessee line. And so, yeah, Tennessee is. I fly out of Memphis a lot. So, yes, it has grown so much. Let me see if we can get. She can't get through, but is rebooting her phone and will try to join again in a minute. Okay. Leslie has just let us know that Valerie is trying to reboot her phone and trying to join. So if you'll hang in there, we will try to get some great research. It's still telling me that she's unable to join, so we're not sure the reason. So we will keep trying here because I really want y'all to hear this information because I say I really want to learn more too. Like I said, dealing with my brother, and I want to know how I can support my sister-in-law because I'll call and see if, do you need me to come stay with him or you need to, this or that, and oh no, we're good, but I still wonder what can I actually do but listen. So anyway, I'm just so hoping. And T&D Interiors have joined. Hey, y'all are from New Hampshire, correct? Hello, welcome. We are still trying to get our guests on, so we're having a little bit of problem with that. So we are going to be talking about Alzheimer's today, and wondering. I'm kind of polling everyone on and finding out if you have loved ones or anyone, loved ones or friends or whatever, dealing with Alzheimer's. And if you do, hey, I miss you too. If you do, tell us kind of what age, because my brother was diagnosed at 68, I believe, and my mother is 92, and Leslie, oh, okay, yeah, your dad. Sorry. It's hard. It's really, really hard. Was it early diagnosis or was it maybe later on? I'm still trying to get her back on. She's invited. Oh, 89 started symptoms 2 years ago. Yeah. That was kind of probably when my mom, she was maybe 90 when she started showing, pretty serious. But anyway, but diagnosed this past month. Yeah, that is so hard. I'm so sorry. Like I said, my mother, they never really called it all. They just want to say dementia, but it's all under one cap basically. But again, I want my guest on here because she could tell you more than I for sure. She is still unable to join. I'm so saddened by this because there's so much we need to learn. So yeah, Leslie, if you could see this, she sent a request, Leslie, but when I go to the camera, there's no one there. I've invited her, but ah, we've got her on. Yay! Hey, everyone, hang on. We've got her. Yay! Hey, we love this technology, but it's not foolproof. That's for
So,
sure.
well, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
we're all good.
I could hear you. So thank you for your patience. I
Sure.
had to do some quick setting changes. So thank you for your
Yes.
patience so much.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
listen, you got information. We're all anxious that's on here wanting to learn more because it's affecting all of us, in one way or another, somewhere, loved one, family member. and everything. And so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this.
Okay, well, thanks, Lori, again, for your patience, everyone. I guess I would say it just goes back to my family experience and living in a small town. Grandparents were in the same town, aunts and uncles. And my parents just really modeled what it looks like to look out for each other
Hmm.
and take care. And I never really felt like it was a burden or an inconvenience. It was just what we did.
Right.
And so, moving forward into my education, I was always involved in the healthcare field, and so I had a real a real liking for geriatrics and working with that population. And as I continued my studies, I became Alzheimer's disease caregivers and their experience of burden and stress. And so the public health issues that surround that, and found myself volunteering at the Alzheimer's Association. And fast forward, here I am 7 months into my staff position at the Heart of America chapter.
And you're now director.
I'm not, I'm actually a program manager,
Oh,
but
program manager. Okay.
right, but we are a team, care and support team of 4, and we
Mhm.
cover 65 counties between Kansas and Missouri. So we
Wow.
have a lot of area to cover, and we do that, I think, very well with volunteers. So that's
Great.
my story.
Okay. Well, share with us about new research that's coming out, maybe prevention, or are there, maybe give us some tips on how we can use this new research to prevent ourselves from getting it.
Yeah, well, that's great information. We all need this,
Hmm.
how to take care of our brain health. And there are risk factors that we can't control, which would be like our age, maybe our family history, but we can have an impact on the disease by reducing our risk with health style changes and behaviors. And so the Alzheimer's Association, based on evidence, has kind of put 10 healthy habits at the front, and so that people can really be involved with taking a proactive approach to brain.
Hmm. Right.
So
Um, could you share maybe the top 3 tips?
sure. So the U.S. Pointer study, which just they released the study or the results this past summer, but I would say the top 3 are going to be for your brain health recipe would be challenging your mind, so continuing to stay engaged and challenging your cognition,
Hmm.
your nutrition. So in the U.S. Pointer study, they used what we call a mind diet, which is Mediterranean kind of, but taking it up a notch. And
Hmm.
then exercise, really super important. And so, those would be some of the top. And then, of course, taking care of our health, like taking care of our blood pressure, watching our diabetes if there's diabetes, or making sure that you're staying active for sure. Just keep moving all the time. And so doing those types of things can help certainly reduce our risk. And so these are evidence-based studies now that we have. And, the easiest thing to remember, Lori, is if it's good for our heart, it's good for our brain.
Good.
So that's easy because a lot of us have been having that message kind of drilled into us over the
Yes.
years.
Well,
And
another thing that I just kind of thought of from, what about dental care? They always say dental care is so important to your heart. Does that also affect the brain?
right. So that's an interesting question because we are seeing evidence of the similar bacteria that are present in periodontal disease that are actually crossing the blood-brain barrier and appearing in the brain. So there's still a lot of research to go with that, but we are definitely seeing that impact. And so, yes, we know that periodontal disease does have an impact on our heart health. And so again, if it's good for our heart, it's going to be good for our brain. And so we have to take all of those considerations
Yes.
as we're thinking about that.
Leslie has asked, challenging cognition. What games do you play?
Well, don't we all play Wordle and
Yeah.
connections, and, right? So
Yeah.
anything that challenges our brain, analyzing and things like that. But with that, we should remember that if that's something we do every day, then we want to keep taking it up a notch. So continue to
Change it.
challenge with new things. And so also learning new things, new hobby, a new language, a music instrument, something that kind of puts you on an alert of learning something new.
I want to say, stay curious.
Exactly.
Okay. What in advanced cases? Oh, wait. No, I want to ask you, if we know someone that has Alzheimer's, are caring for a newly diagnosed Alzheimer's, what can we do to support them?
Well, I think the biggest one of the biggest things, I guess, would be becoming educated, and helping to understand that the disease and how, what Alzheimer's is. Because, I think a lot of times fear does kind of, the unknown creates fear, and then we don't really know what to do. So I would say the best thing we can do is become educated. And of course, the Alzheimer's Association has multiple ways to do that. We have our website, we have a helpline where you can access lots of resources. But the other thing, Lori, is really just being available
Yeah.
and not pulling back.
Mhm.
And I think that we can be helped to do that by being more informed and understanding the disease more, and that it's just something that we want to help that caregiver with through the new normals.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important.
In more advanced cases of Alzheimer's, what would you recommend to help those loved ones cope with their disease while they're taking care of themselves?
Ooh, yes. Well, I would say really caregivers should really reach out for support. And, there are a lot of support groups available, not only through the Alzheimer's Association, but also other local organizations. But I think seeking support with other people who are sharing that experience, and it can take lots of forms. It could be a virtual support group, it could be in person,
Mhm.
whatever is best for that person. And then the other piece I would say is probably finding some help, some respite, because the only way we can take care of ourselves is to pull back and get some help. And so if you've never really thought about getting respite care, maybe try it, because you never know. It might be just the thing that puts fuel back in your tank.
In your
And
take, and maybe even there, even the one with Alzheimer's,
exactly. Because
bringing
when we can
something
be,
new.
yeah, because when we can be refreshed, we can be more available. And respite doesn't have to mean, you necessarily have to leave the house, but, it could be somebody coming into the house and helping with certain areas of, the household needs, helping with personal care, whatever it is. And Lori, like respite for you might look different than for me. One of the things we didn't mention is sleep. Sleep is a really important factor. Again, we have to be rested. And so if, for instance, if it was really important to you to get a good night's sleep, maybe somebody coming in and keeping a watchful eye while you get a good night's rest is going to help
Mhm.
you. And whereas somebody else, it might be just getting a couple hours out of the house is their respite. And so it
Right.
could be, Yeah, it can be participating in community programs with your loved one, a memory cafe, or an early, a social engagement activity, whatever that is. But,
Right.
think about respite because it really is important. And I think until we try it, we may not realize how great it feels. And
Right.
it is good for us to reduce that stress because stress, as we all know, it's a real challenge to our health.
Yeah. Share with us a little bit about some of the research right now that maybe something new coming out. Anything you could maybe share with us?
Well, in addition to the healthy lifestyle choices that I just described,
Hmm.
I would also say that, we have more tools in the toolbox than we did before. So like when I
Ever
first,
before. Hmm.
yeah, ever before. So,
Yeah.
when I first started being around Alzheimer's patients and caregivers, there really wasn't much for us to journey, other than maybe a medication that was treating the symptoms of the disease. But now we have two FDA approved blood, blood markers that can be measured. We have blood tests that can be ordered so that we can determine if in fact it is an Alzheimer's disease that we're dealing with. There are medications now that can actually change the course of the disease and do more than just symptom treatment, but actually help slow the progression of the disease. And we didn't have that even 6 years ago.
Wow.
Right.
Leslie's asking, what is a memory cafe?
A memory cafe is really neat. It's a time where you can get together with your loved one and go to a place where they might be doing an activity. It could be a music memory cafe. It could be a memory cafe where maybe each time they get together, they address a certain topic. I've attended some of those where maybe the theme of the day might be ice cream, and they can do a lot of activities just around ice cream, or it could even be just reminiscing, sharing stories, and maybe even viewing pictures and talking about what that means to them. So memory cafes can look a lot of different ways, but the important thing is it's a time to spend together and with other people. So it kind of has a combination of support, but also social engagement, which is so important.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I did not know that. What are your top three picks of products that help those with Alzheimer's cope successfully?
Okay, well, I think, one, before I jump into products, is that, looking in the home and simplifying the environment. So, what's very difficult for someone who is trying to interpret their environment, their home environment, it changes over time. And so, if there's a lot of clutter and disorganization in the home, it can be very confusing. So, think about what's around you through the eyes of someone who is having difficulty interpreting that environment. Simplify, organize. A closet maybe doesn't need to have, the sweaters hanging right next to the shorts. Make it easy for that person to go into the closet and pick out some clothes that are appropriate for the season. Although I guess, maybe in Arkansas, you could be wearing shorts the
I was
same
gonna
way
say,
you
you
wear.
can wear shorts today and tomorrow a sweater because it's snowing.
That's right.
We
So
get all of the weather, but I
yeah,
yeah, I get that now. I know I went to see my mother last one Thanksgiving, I think last year, and anyway, everybody, it was cool, really cool, and everybody was all wrapped up, and had come to lunch at the assisted living where she was at the time, and she had on short sleeves and crop pants, and everybody was free, that had been outside was cold, but in her room at I think 85, she was very comfortable.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
but taking away the clothes,
Yeah.
I know I've had to do that with her to keep her in season.
Yeah, and limit the choices so it's simplified.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, products that can help orient them to time and place. So, like today, a calendar day,
Mhm.
November, you know,
Yeah.
and so kind of giving them that ability to to get oriented. But, I think about anything that helps the individual remain independent as long as possible, because caregiver does not need to take on extra responsibilities before they need to, right? And so
Right.
being that person independent, because it feels good to them, it certainly feels good to the person who's caring with them. And so whatever you can do. And I think about the bathroom. Of course, we always talk about picking up the rugs and all of that, but
Right.
having good lighting in the areas that maybe are not as well lit, so for safety purposes, but also in the bathroom, simplifying that environment as well. And so, anti-slip surfaces. We don't need 6 bottles in the shower. We can get by with 1 or 2, right? So simplifying that space. And then, ironically, I see that grab bars are a real big thing here. So
They
I,
are.
I'm all about grab bars. So
Yeah.
I think that also helps that person stay independent as much as possible. And then, and even a handheld shower head is
Mhm.
nice to have as well. And some people go so far as to change out their tub, maybe do a walk-in shower or something like that. So,
Mhm.
modify the space if you're able to keep that person independent as long
Yes.
as possible.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Um, let's talk about resources
Okay.
that are available, maybe financially, to help people that are overwhelmed with someone. The cost is astronomical,
Yes, it
if you
is.
have to have care. But tell us what you do know that maybe can help some of our listeners.
You bet. So I would always recommend going to our website, the alz.org, and you can always put anything in that search bar. But I think that it's going to vary from state to state. So for instance, Kansas and Missouri, we actually in both states have a program where caregivers can be reimbursed for some of their respite care. And it's pretty simple to get that. And so we always educate people about that availability. But it can vary from states. But for instance, there can also be area agencies on aging. That's a great place to look and start checking out what's available. That's going to be more of a local level, county and city. You can find resources, churches, local community groups. And so even if it's just help with meals or transportation, that's going to make a big difference on the household finances. And so wherever they can find, a local agency and just start doing some research there. Sometimes there are some real hidden helps by just asking around. But
Very good.
there are lots of agencies that are happy to help.
Mhm. Okay, and you talking about the respite, but what are resources that are available to help caregivers that are maybe overwhelmed with the demand of caring for someone with Alzheimer's?
Yeah, so respite, like I said, could be somebody coming into the home, and so looking for agencies locally that can help with that. And that can be something as simple as just running errands for a person or with them, and just getting that help to come in. We have on our website, there's what we call a community resource finder. So it's alz.org/CRF for community resource finder. And if you enter your zip code, there will be enter your zip code and there will be categories. You can select home care services, even providers. It could be support groups. So I highly recommend the Community Resource Finder. That's in conjunction with AARP that supports that effort. And so you can really drill down to your area and find out what's available.
Thank you. That's valuable information. I had no clue. Had
Yeah.
no clue that was available. I have reached out to like area agency and things like that, but this is really, really good. Valerie, is there anything I have missed that maybe because you deal with this all the time, you work with it, that might help us, that that could help my listeners?
Well, I think that what would be really important as we think about the way this disease progresses, because it is a progressive disease, it is
Hmm.
fatal. And so if there's a way for us to just remember that what is happening is a disease process, and that person still resides with us and the person we've loved and know so well. And so you know that person best, and think about them, and that this is their disease journey, and that you're with them. But it's really important, caregivers, to take care of yourselves, because we really need to know, just as we said earlier, what we do not only helps ourselves, but it also helps the person we're caring for. And self-care is not selfish.
It is so important. It is so very, very important. Well, Valerie, I know you've had issues getting on here, but I telling you, I knew you had valuable information that the third phase needed to learn more about. So, anyway, thank you so much for being here and sharing your information. And how do people find you?
Well, I'm at the Heart of America chapter.
Uh-huh.
And so you can, if you go to the Alzheimer's website, the alz.org, you can find your local chapter, and they can direct you to resources as well. But the real help is going to the helpline, which is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that number is 1-800-272-3900, and maybe we can post that,
Yes, we
when
will
you,
definitely
and
put it
so
on.
going to that helpline, you can pretty much get any direction that you need from the helpline. But yes, find your local chapter as well. Find out what education programs might be going on. Again, these can be online, they could be in person, but you can find education. And again, as we said earlier, the best thing we can do is
Right.
become educated so that we
Yes.
can be well informed, and we can help someone else who may not have that information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I will have a newsletter coming out that will have all of this, the phone numbers and things like that. So
Perfect.
anyone that has not joined my group, please do so. It's free and private. It's called the third phase. So the number three. So be sure and join and get my newsletter, and we will share more information there and on the Facebook group. So Valerie, thank you so much, and I'll be
Thank
talking with
you.
you. Okay,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.